Okay, I will try to give a very short statement explaining why I'm hosting and supporting this initiative and this event today. First, I need to say that this is not just about money. The reason why I view this initiative as more than just money, it's the fact that European citizens' money are being misused by specific governments against the fundamental principles and values of the EU. And to my understanding, I'm not an expert on fraud, but I need to support what considers to be the greatest interest of the EU, the rule of law. That's why I think that there are issues, legal issues, political as well as ethical issues, why we support this initiative. If we allow some governments to misuse European citizens' money, then it would be a matter of time when some other government would do the same thing. That's why we need to act, as has already been stated, proactively, and not to allow this to spread around in other member states. And a final statement is the fact that usually in the European Union we have we have a division between South and North. Well, I'm here coming from one of the member states way at the south of the European Union to join in this initiative, because what unites us together, it's much more important than what might divide us.
I'm here as a Belgian MEP, active since 1999 in the Budgetary Control Committee. So I'm not an expert in fraud, but I'm an expert in combating fraud, which is much more important. When I was informed about the Citizens Initiative, I immediately went to the website, I signed it. So that is at least already one signature in Belgium. No, I support it because it is fully in line in what we do since decades in the European Parliament and in the Budgetary Control Committee. If I go to the most recent things, we got a special report by the Court of Auditors on frauds and the measures that have to be taken, the failures also of the European Union. So already that special report gives an incentive to support your Citizens Initiative. Secondly, with the Budgetary Control Committee in this term, we dedicated quite a lot of our energy towards what is happening in many illiberal states in mostly the eastern part of Europe. We know there are problems in Romania, we know there are problems also in Poland. I myself am quite active in the whole issue on how to make sure that there are no conflicts of interests between those political leaders whose countries get financial support from the European Union and their own businesses. One of the cases is of course Mr. Orban in Hungary, but we have the very specific case of the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic, Mr. Babiš. So my message is this Citizens Initiative 3 months or 4 months before the European elections of the 26th, 23rd, 26th of May is a very important initiative because it brings into the debate the whole issue of frauds, on how to stop oligarchs, how to combat corrupt regimes, and how to combat illiberalism in those countries, and to assure that European money, which is taxpayers' money, it is money coming from all of us, it's our money, and that is for me the most essential thing. Each time there is a scandal, such a scandal gives oxygen, gives fuel to Euroscepticism. So all my support, and I hope you will succeed in getting 1 million signatures, so that we have a new tool to put pressure on the new European Commission, because I presume that will be a task for the new European Commission, so that also when we have to vote on the new anti-fraud commissioner and the budget commissioner and the agricultural commissioner and all the other commissioners, that we can use your citizens' initiative to put pressure and to make sure that this issue is one of the core things of the next commission.
I'm the director of the Transparency International EU office, but we're essentially the mouthpiece in Brussels for our 24 national chapters and partners all around the European Union, and we are, as a network, as a movement, very, very supportive of this initiative, not only in Hungary but in the other member states as well, and our national chapters will be busily promoting this citizens' initiative in those countries as well. We're supportive for two reasons. One, that's part of our DNA. We're an anti-corruption and anti-fraud organization, so who could disagree with a citizens' initiative like Stop Fraud? But secondly, we were also very supportive of the European Public Prosecutor's Office. We're a very practical organization in our approach to stopping corruption and fraud, so I want to speak just very briefly about two practical things that could be done if we get this citizens' initiative through. The first is about a concept called the Integrity Pact. And the concept is pretty simple. You get the contracting authority, the public authorities, and the bidders to sign up to enhanced transparency measures. Yeah? So they sign a contract together saying, we're going to be cleaner than clean. We're going to be squeaky clean about this project. And we're going to subject ourselves, importantly, to independent monitoring from civil society organizations. The second example actually comes from, and I'm very glad Mr. Stas brought it up, the recent case of Mr. Babish's conflicts of interest. In fact, it was our national chapter in the Czech Republic that launched a formal complaint to the European Commission on that conflict of interest. This has happened because of the diligence, the activism of one civil society organization. But what I would say would be another good ex-ante control is that politicians in countries or public officials in countries that haven't signed up to the European Public Prosecutor should be required to submit their financial declarations to a body like OLAF, and then it would be up to OLAF to look and check to see if those financial declarations represent any conflict of interest in terms of receiving EU funds. And then OLAF would also be empowered to check and verify those information against information that is in company ownership or share ownership databases around Europe. Maybe two final comments. I very much hope this citizens' initiative succeeds and that the Commission will take action on the basis of this initiative. But I don't think we need to wait. I think a lot of what we are discussing now can be done tomorrow, right? We're in the middle of discussing the next EU budget. We are in the middle of discussing what the rules are that will govern that budget. So the common provisions regulation will need to be discussed and agreed in the next months. And these kind of controls, these kind of measures, we believe, Transparency International believes, could be placed within the common provisions regulation. And a final comment, which was that you mentioned that this initiative stands in contradistinction to other initiatives which are about placing rule of law conditionality on EU funds, and it would be better to do it this way because that way the final beneficiaries don't suffer. Ordinary citizens who would be the beneficiaries of this funding don't suffer if funds are suspended. The only thing I would say is I don't see it as an either or. I mean, we've written a paper about how the Commission or how the EU should place conditions, rule of law conditions on the disbursement of EU funds. And one thing we say in that is that it shouldn't be either or. You either get the funds or you don't. There should be a graded response that's possible in response to the discovery of threats to the rule of law. And one of those things, one of those intermediate actions you could take, having done an assessment of the threat to the rule of law, is indeed to put these kind of ex-ante controls in place. So that's all from me.